The anime begins with Kufa Vampir, an assassin who is fighting against a group of mysterious people. The arrival of Kufa and his friend turned out to be too late because the enemy had killed the target. In this scene, it can be seen that William, his enemy, managed to escape from the battle. The scene switches and explains if the existence of humans in Kufa's world is threatened by the magic monster lycanthropes, so they must increase their strength to be stronger to fight. There are several classes, such as Paladin, Diabolos, Dragoon, Assassin, and Joker, that determine someone's magic ability from others. As for Kufa himself, he belongs to the Assassin class with a samurai that possesses excellent agility and stealth. Next, he is seen on a train that will take him to a kingdom to teach magic. After arriving at their destination, Kufa meets Rossetti Prickett, a magic teacher who was also sent to the kingdom to teach the use of magic. After that, Kufa went to the residence of Melida Angel, a kingdom princess. When he got there, he was shocked by Melida, who almost fell. Then, he catches her so she doesn't fall. Melida is one of his students who will learn to use magic. In another scene, it is explained that Melida is a student who has not mastered magic even though she is 13 years old. Many of her friends at her age have mastered magic and continue their studies in special classes. Therefore, Melida is usually teased by her friends, especially by Nerva. Soon after, Nerva is also asking her to fight. Melida, who doesn't master magic, is powerless to fight and lose. Kufa, who was teaching the class, didn't do anything when he saw his student fall. He was observing the ability of his students in the class. Besides being ridiculed for not having mastered magic, Melida is often compared to her sister, Melida Angel. Unlike her, Melida has better achievements in Paladin class and is considered the strongest student in her class. Seeing Melida's condition, Kufa has two options to complete his mission. The first option is for him to train Melida and make her one of the more powerful magic knights. However, if she is proven not to be the biological child of the king, then she will be killed by Kufa according to the orders he received. One night, Melida runs away from home. When Kufa finds her, he sees her being attacked by the magical monster lycanthrope sent by her family for her to use her abilities. Unfortunately, Melida, who doesn't have magic, cannot fight against these magical creatures. Then, Kufa helped her and defeated all the lycanthropes that attacked her. Kufa, who has seen Melida's struggle, feels sorry for her and wants to help her be recognized by her family and friends. Even he is willing to lend her mana ability so Melida can get a magic class. Hearing this, she was very happy. The next scene describes if Melida has gotten an assassin class like Kufa. However, he asks her to keep it a secret and forbids her from using her mana because it could threaten her safety. Later, they meet up with Rossetti and Melida in the hallway of the building. Turns out Rossetti is Melida's magic teacher. Rossetti revealed that she wanted to get acquainted with Kufa, but he refused. Not long after, at the appointed time, Melida's Magic Academy will hold a sparring tournament for all the students there. This tournament was watched live by the king or Melida's father. In the tournament, Melida and Kufa's lives are also at stake. Nerva, who doesn't like her, starts to make her even more nervous. Hearing Nerva's words toward Melida, Kufa asked her to be quiet. In the next scene, Melida and Nerva fight. With mana she already has, Melida can defeat her. With the result of the match, Melida began to be recognized by everyone. Unfortunately, her father has not recognized Melida's abilities because she has only won once. However, Kufa as her teacher is very supportive of her. While they were chatting, Nerva came and apologized to Melida for all her actions. The scene switches to when Melida and Melida will participate in the festival parade, and William, a half-lycanthrope, kidnaps them both. William wants to change Melida's class to Paladin and vice versa. The exchange is risky because it can cause both princesses to be permanently disabled. Melida and Melida can finally escape even though the lycanthropes are still trying to catch up to them. Fortunately, Kufa and Rossetti came to rescue them. In this scene, it can be seen that Rossetti is in charge of guarding them, and Kufa will chase William. Meanwhile, William tries to fight Kufa by bringing out the haunted chimera, a monster with great strength. When fighting these creatures, Kufa had to lose his left hand. Kufa finally shows his strength as a vampire, known as the strongest entity. His severed left hand was taken and put back together again. William, who saw this, was very frightened. Kufa threatens William so he doesn't disturb the princesses. Then, he left. After the incident, Kufa's boss sent a black Madia to investigate what he was hiding. In the kingdom, Melida can finally enjoy the festival and express her feelings to Kufa. Back to the Luna Lumiere selection session as the last session of the sparring tournament. The session will compete for the title of Goddess Lumiere. In the election, there was an oddity that happened because Melida and Melida were going to fight. Seeing the fraud, Kufa conducted an investigation. From the investigation results, Othello, a servant of Melida, cheated so she could later win the battle and get rid of Melissa from the royal family. In the next scene, Kufa is seen fighting with Black Madia. Rossetti then arrives after learning that Kufa was attacked. Seeing that help is coming, Black Madia decides to leave so that her disguise is not exposed. On the day of the match, Melida and Elise are fighting for the title of Goddess Lumiere. Outside the battle arena, Kufa knew there was a threat to them. It turns out that the threat came from Mule. Afterward, Kufa attacked her. However, upon learning that Mule was a high-class vampire, he backed away and apologized for the attack. Then he left her. In the battle between Melida and Elise, Melida proved that she already had an ability that her sister couldn't underestimate, and the siblings made up with each other. Suddenly Black Madia, disguised as Nerva, came and attacked the princesses. Fortunately, Kufa and Rossetti come to their aid, so Melida's identity is unknown. After the incident, Nerva was found unconscious after being kidnapped by Black Madia. Meanwhile, Black Madia herself was defeated by Kufa. The next day, the princesses did their usual training routine. In an alley, Kufa meets his boss and gives him a potion that he doesn't know the function of the potion. In the next scene, suddenly, Rossetti asks him to marry her because she has been betrothed by her parents. Without thinking, Kufa agreed to Rossetti's idea of being her partner for a while. Turned out that parents respected a gentle person who had power. Not long after, the principal warmly welcomed Rossetti's parents' arrival at the Magic Academy. In addition to seeing the training at the academy, her parents also came to announce their daughter's wedding. Rossetti refuses her parents' request and tells them she is dating Kufa. On the other hand, some students are seen being attacked by mysterious magic. After being investigated by Marquis, Rossetti's father, Kufa, is suspected of being the perpetrator of the mysterious attack. Then, when Marquis visited the city, a strange incident occurred. A citizen got possessed and was killed by him with the excuse of protecting other citizens from the plague. In another scene, it can be seen that Kufa and Rossetti are visiting a place and are greeted by several orphans who are being cared for by Marquis family. The next day, the orphans are dead due to a mysterious attack. With this incident, Marquis believed that the main culprit of the murder was Kufa, even though no solid evidence had been found. Next, Kufa goes to the Black Spot, a forbidden place he suspects is connected to all these strange occurrences. Therefore, he asked Black Madia to escort Melida and protect the princess. After that, Melida and Black Madia help him carry out the investigation and find people who have died due to trance. The people who have died are the result of mysterious experiments. The disease that caused their death is also still a mystery. Most likely, it has something to do with the Black Spot. Elsewhere, Rossetti and Elise are attacked by a mysterious attack. Seeing his daughter unconscious, Marquis ordered his people to arrest him and confess his actions. Melida, who knows this, tries to reinvestigate the incident. Suddenly Rossetti, who has turned into a vampire and is controlled by someone, appears and tries to attack Melida. At the same time, Kufa came to help Melida. Even he had to use his vampire powers to defeat Rossetti. After Rossetti is defeated, he intends to erase Melida's memory because she already knows the real Kufa. However, Melida refuses because she accepts him and doesn't mind his vampire figure. The scene then switches to describing Kufa's past. Seen a mansion belonging to Kufa's family on fire. It turns out that his father made a pact with the lycanthropes that made the magical creatures do damage and kill the villagers. Knowing that his sister is also a victim of the magical creature, Kufa bites his sister so she can become a vampire like him. To keep his sister from killing people to drink their blood, Kufa ended up eliminating her. For his sister's sake, he joins an assassin organization so that their identities are unknown to others. Back to the scene of Melida and Kufa. From Kufa's story, the main culprit of the mysterious attack is Nakua, a monster who spread the seeds of a nightmare 7 years ago. Nakua cooperates with Marquis and makes the townspeople his experiment. The scene then continues when Rossetti is about to marry her fiancé. Fortunately, Rossetti, still in someone else's control, can be awakened, so the marriage fails. Nakua also appeared there. Then, Kufa and Rossetti team up to defeat Nakua. After his core body dies, Nakua tries to escape. However, with the help of his students, Nakua was eventually annihilated. In the next scene, Rossetti has regained her memory. She finds out that Kufa is her older brother. However, for her sake, Kufa must seal her memories back so that she can live freely as a human. The scene changes when Kufa knows that Marquis' main purpose in cooperating with Nakua is because he wants to revive his wife, who has now become lycanthrope. Knowing this, Kufa gave a medicine that he got from his superiors to Marquis. After that, his wife returned to being human. Finally, Marquis surrendered and confessed his crimes to the royals. Meanwhile, in a meeting room, the royal nobles plan to get rid of Melida, who is considered the daughter of the queen's affair. The plan is led by the Duke and begins when Salacha sends a masked man to come to the academy and claims that he is Melida's biological father. This incident made many people doubt Melida's real identity. The king finally decided to get her out of the academy, and she would be locked up. The Duke's mysterious attack was again carried out. Kufa overcame it even though the principal was seriously injured in the attack. Then, the undead king rose. Luckily, William, now in Melida's camp, came to help. Afterward, the situation is not over because Melida is kidnapped by the Duke and brought to a court in another dimension, knowing that Kufa rushed to save his student. In a court case, Melida was accused of defrauding residents for 13 years by posing as a princess. In addition, her assassin class is not the descendant of the king, who has the paladin class. She tries to explain her reason for joining the assassin class. However, the Duke continued to corner Melida with various baseless accusations. She was asked to fight with Salacha and prove that she was a descendant of the king. With her abilities, Melida can defeat Salacha. This makes the nobles begin to trust her. However, the Duke suddenly casts his magic to annihilate them from escaping from the dimension. The masked man, who claimed to be Melida's biological father, also came. Luckily, before he attacks Melida, Kufa arrives and defeats him. Finally, she was rescued and returned to the kingdom with him. The Duke who ran away was considered a royal criminal. Elsewhere, the Duke kills the masked man because he is considered useless to him. The anime ends by describing a happy ending for Melida because, with this incident, her father accepts and acknowledges her abilities. The moral of this anime is that an effort will never betray the results. Melida teaches how all the efforts she put in diligently can finally pay off by being recognized by the people around her.